Good morning to you. You. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Won't you share with a friend or two? Good morning. Good morning to you. You. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. You. Good morning. Good morning to you. And many more. And many more. And many more. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome, welcome, welcome to Daring Dialogues. I'm your host today, Shantae Charles. Today, we have one book that we're going to be reading from. The other book we have come to, I would say, a great stop, and that is Set Boundaries, Find Peace. And we have completed chapter 10. So next year, as our Creator wills, we will pick up in chapter 11, which is going to be a great fresh start. And we'll be talking about romantic relationships. All right. So we're going to end on today. We're going to read through the final pages of this chapter entitled Troubleshooting Relationships with Siblings from the second book. And that's going to put us right at the end of this chapter. And then, as our Creator wills, we will be on chapter 13 in this book when we come back. And it's talking about troubleshooting relationships with children. But today we're talking about troubleshooting relationships with siblings. If you remember last time, we looked at sort of the um, archetypes of different kinds of children within a family. And today we're talking about healing sibling relationships, the ways that you do that, how to protect your peace in sibling relationships, and then if you are a parent, parenting children who are estranged from each other. Again, this is Relationship Wednesday. This is the Wednesday, this is the day of the week that we talk about our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with others. All right. So for those of you who may be watching, again, the book that we're reading from is Dramafree by Dr. Nedra Glover Tawaab, who also has another book coming or out, I believe, out soon or has been released. I think it's out soon. But definitely check out her work. I feel like these chapters and these scenarios have been preparing you all year long for your holiday season, especially those of you who are going home, who are returning home, who may be dealing with difficult relationships or dysfunctional relationships. Hopefully, as you have been reading along with us this year, you have been taking in these lessons that will be helpful in managing um, your community, in managing your relationships with your family. All right. Healing sibling relationships is the topic. If you're struggling in a relationship with one or more of your siblings, consider these strategies. Good morning. The first strategy is acceptance. Meet them where they are and don't push them. Perhaps your sibling is struggling with substance misuse or has a lifestyle that you don't quite understand. You can't change those things about them, and trying to convince them to be anything else will just push them away. You can get along with a sibling who has an entirely different personality from yours, but you must accept their differences, including the aspects that you consider to be less than ideal. For example, Marie's brother Carter was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in his early 20s. His behavior was unpredictable and concerning at times, Marie didn't feel comfortable having him at her house, but she felt she could meet him for lunch once a month at one of his favorite restaurants. It wasn't the type of relationship she'd always wanted, but it was what she could manage. All right. Here's another strategy: emotional maturity. For the sake of your peace, release the need to control what your sibling or siblings does or doesn't do. You can only control how you respond. Don't be surprised when they demonstrate who they are. In therapy, people arrive with a load of issues related to people who aren't in the treatment space with them. Those people aren't seeking help, or they might be seeking help but are not in the room. So the goal isn't to change them. Instead, the goal is for the person seeking therapy to explore their own feelings, change the way they are reacting, and relax their expectations. And good morning to those of you who are coming in. The third strategy is grace and compassion. Grammy winning gospel artist Kirk Franklin shared this story. Two boys were raised by their alcoholic father. One son grew up and followed in his father's footsteps. He too became an alcoholic. When asked what happened, he answered, "I watched my father." The son grew up and did not use alcohol. The other son grew up and did not use alcohol. When asked what happened, he answered, "I watched my father." Same household, same experiences, and two different perspectives. You can live through the same experiences as your sibling and have a completely different perspective and takeaway. Personality, temperament, mental and emotional health, and genetics determine your mindset. If you see your sibling as a unique individual, it might be easier to develop compassion for who they are, no matter what path they have chosen. Another strategy, which I think is a really big one, especially around the holidays: unpacking resentment. Resentment can build and reach a point where you find it challenging to engage with your siblings. It's essential to acknowledge, name, and feel whatever emotions you have. There's no need to shame yourself for being upset about incidents in the past. You not imagining things and you aren't being mean. Feel what you feel without judgment so that you don't take your emotions out on others. If you tell your sibling what you've been feeling, you might give them some insight that helps them to see your perspective. No one can correct the past, but acknowledging your wounds can help heal your relationship now and improve your future interactions with your siblings. Acknowledging your resentment might sound something like this: Mom seemed to favor boys, therefore I felt she was harder on me and gave you fewer consequences. You were able to stand up for yourself in a way that I never felt comfortable doing, and our parents seemed to listen when you did. You seemed unfazed by the fact that our parents were addicts. You were able to make friends and do well in school, and I could not with everything happening at home. When we were younger, Mom always made me take you with me wherever I went. So I was mean to you then, and sometimes I'm still getting upset by how my mother put me in a position to take care of you. Dad treated you as if you were the special daddy's little girl, and he was harder on me. For years, I ignored you because I didn't want to be another person treating you like a princess. Moving through the discomfort of openness. You can control your delivery, but you cannot control how someone will respond to you. It makes sense to fear that your sibling might overreact or even become defensive about what you're sharing. However, consider the possibility that speaking up might make things better for you and between you. Be clear that you're being honest about the challenges you've had with them because you want to improve the relationship and make it work. If your sibling becomes defensive, let them speak because chances are they're shocked by the revelations, no matter how true and self evident they might feel to you. Don't deny their experience while owning your own. 6 ways to keep and to protect your peace in your sibling relationships. And I think this is definitely key to um, I think this is definitely key to your holidays. Y'all have to pardon me for a moment because I'm looking at my friend Luther the squirrel hopping across my tree outside. He just distracted me for a moment, but pay me no mind. All right. 6 ways to protect your peace in your sibling relationships. Good morning. First of all, keep it short. Determine how long you can engage with your sibling before losing your patience or peace. What is the optimal amount of time for engagement? How long does it take before you feel dysregulated in their presence? Number two, avoid heated conversations. There are topics you won't discuss with your siblings. Which ones are off limits? How long should you listen before changing the subject? Number three, share only what's comfortable for you. You can share based on your desire for your siblings to know more about you, but you don't have to say anything before you're ready. If someone asks you a question you're not ready to answer, practice saying something like this: I'm not ready to share yet. I'm still processing and not ready to talk about it. I hear that you're concerned. I will let you know more when I'm ready to share. And spend time bonding. Number four. In some instances, quality time is better than quantity time. You don't have to see each other often to feel connected. Don't force yourself to spend more time together than you want or need. Instead, find an activity you're both likely to enjoy. Perhaps there's a show you both like to watch, or it could be fun to try a new restaurant. Number five, honor each other's differences. It's okay to be different, and it's important to embrace that. When you choose to be with other people, embrace who they are in those moments when you're spending time together and when you're apart. Loving someone can mean accepting their uniqueness. And number six, place your boundaries and stick to them. Remember, boundaries are only something that you can violate. Boundaries, okay? They can violate a rule that you put out, but you are the person that violates your own boundary when you move it and when you don't follow through. Relationships need boundaries. Yours are your responsibility, and when you set one, it's your job to ensure that it is honored. For example, if you inform your brother that they can't borrow more money until they pay you back for what they already owe you, tell them no every time they ask for more money. You can't make them stop asking, but you can be firm about your boundary of not giving more money. Finally, parenting children who are estranged from each other. Regardless of their age, it's hard to see your children not get along. When they're under your care, you can help them with their relationship. However, once they become adults, it's no longer your job. Even though you want your adult children to get along, meddling in their relationships can cause more issues. I heard a story of a man who always had a contentious relationship with his brother. His parents would encourage him to be nice or love your brother no matter what. He always felt like his brother was jealous of him and was picking fights. After his mother died, he found a note his mother wrote that validated his concerns. His mother admitted to seeing how his brother was envious and petty, and she could not describe why this might be the case. The man felt relieved that his mother finally acknowledged his concerns. When your children are estranged, do this: respect the boundaries they have outlined, or specifically ask them, what do you want me to do or not do as the parent in this situation? Your children might set the following boundaries. If my brother is coming to the gathering, please let me know and I will not attend. That's a big one. There's no um, there's no worse feeling than knowing that you are having a contention with someone else and you've asked people to give you a heads up that if that person is going to be there so you don't show up, and everybody knows that person is going to be there but you, and you show up. That's when you have to say, thank you for the invite. Y'all have a good time. Pieces. I'm out. Please don't share anything about me with them. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard that being one of the number one concerns with people who are out of sorts with their siblings or any relative, really. Why are we sharing things about other people to other people that the other person has asked us not to share? Respect the boundary. I don't want to hear updates on what's happening with them. This is another one. Why are you giving me updates that I did not ask for? Big, big, big issue. Don't try to force your children to talk. Don't guilt trip them by saying things like, what will happen if I die? That is a really, really big one. Don't do that. No, no. All I want is for you to get along. Convincing your children to communicate isn't healthy for them, even if it makes you feel better. Relationships are only healthy when they're by choice. Deal with the discomfort of estranged children by talking to a therapist or a trusted friend. Don't bury your grief, work through it. But don't try to convince your children with threats of your death as a way to make them communicate. Very manipulative. Don't do it. Remain neutral and try to understand both sides of the equation. Reminders about sibling relationships for us all. You have siblings. Number one, you might not be best friends with your siblings, and that is okay. I tell you, one of the joys and one of the inspirations that I get is when I see really close sibling relationships. I am not close to most of my siblings, but the ones that I do have good relationships with, I focus in on those. So just acknowledging you might not be the best friends with your siblings, but if you're working towards good and healthy relationships, that is great. You can have sibling rivalry as adults. I don't know that I do. Some of you might out there might be experiencing this. Um, but yeah, you can have sibling rivalry as adults. Sometimes those rivalries are healthy in that it makes that other sibling want to do better. But you also have to look at those unhealthy rivalries and tendencies too. Your parents may have contributed to your relationship issues with your siblings. Um, and you should be able to, hopefully, at some point, be able to have a conversation with your sibling. I know I have, and talk about your parental dynamics and how those parental dynamics affected your relationship as siblings. And finally, you might not like your sibling's personality. Might not like the person they grow into, but they're still your sibling. And again, we talked about boundaries. You have to decide what kind of boundaries you're going to receive, what kind of boundaries you're going to set. With all of the above, if you choose, you can work through your challenges and have a relationship with your siblings, or you can choose not to. All right, that concludes the end of this chapter. And I'm going to share with you the exercises she has here in case you want to participate in them. Grab your journal or a piece of paper to complete the following prompts in your own time. Question 1. What are the top 3 issues in your relationships with your siblings? And question number 2. What can you do to be more at ease in your reactions and interactions with your siblings? So when we come back, hopefully in the new year, we will be on chapter 13 together in the book. If you want to read ahead, feel free to do that. Chapter 13 is entitled Troubleshooting Relationships with Children. And believe it or not, we are, let's see, 15, 16. Okay. All right, we're about 4 chapters from the end of her work. And then she's got a FAQ section, which we probably won't go into. But we have been rolling through this work. I highly recommend this, especially for the holidays. If you're getting ready to go into um, a family situation, holidays, you haven't been around your family in a while, maybe you're feeling a little tense, a little unsure, or not at ease in your family situation, I do recommend this book. Um, it is December 16th, so you still have 9 days until you are at that place. You can also, I believe, get her books by Kindle, and I think there's audiobooks available now. You can probably check that out. So if you want to listen to her book before you head into your holiday break, I highly recommend that you do that. All right. Let's see if we can chop it up. I'm going to try to send you the link, Pastor Ben, to see if I can get you in today. And hopefully it won't give me any problems. If it does, we'll try again tomorrow. But we're going to try today. Hold on. All right. It went through without a problem this time. So hopefully you'll be able to come on and chop it up with us today. If you're with us for the first time, this is Daring Dialogues, and I'm your host today, Shantae Charles, and today is Relationship Wednesday. Good morning to those of you who have come in, who have joined us, who are liking the broadcast, who are sharing the broadcast, and who are subscribing to our page. We are very glad to have you here, and we are very thankful that you're choosing to listen in and share your thoughts with us. If you're interested in our playlists, we do have several playlists on the channel, even all the way back to our very first season of Daring Dialogues. You can look on our playlist and look for Daring Dialogues and the season number and go back and listen to some of our first starting broadcasts, and you will see how far we have come. All right. Pastor Ben, I'm waiting to see if you're going to be able to connect and add yourself with the link. And we'll give you just another minute. All right. I see your addition. And hopefully we won't have an issue today. All right. Good morning. All right. I can see you and I hear you just a bit. Are you making your way to a better spot?
Yeah, I'm trying to find a better.
Okay. It sounds good now that you're awake.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, now siblings, sibling relationship. I had to find where I was. Sibling relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, I got six siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the six, three of us are very close. And we just happen to be the three that took care of our parents.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very close. Not so much with the other four, and that's the same with the three of us, because one of those siblings operates with a controlling spirit and somehow have influence over them. And see, what I refuse to do is allow somebody to control me. So that relationship there, I mean, listen, my door is open, but I don't deal with the foolishness. So she kind of keep her distance. But as a matter of fact, so do all of them. That four basically, that are influenced by her, there's really not much contact or conversation. Now, my other two, while we may not talk all the time, when we do talk, it's going to be at the minimum of a 1 hour conversation.
Mm.
Sometimes it can go into 3 hours, because we'll call every now and then just to check on the other. And that conversation will go into an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. We're doing a lot of catching up and stuff like that. So, I have, I think I probably have basically every relationship that you could have with the sibling. So now my brother, he's somewhere in the middle because while he still keeps connected, he's not as connected as he could be.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if he wasn't influenced by that one controlling sister to a certain extent,
Gotcha.
but my other two sisters, it's basically like they are controlled by that one person. So that keeps that separation. But as I said, each one of us have a personality.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us, like the three, there's a lot about us that's a lot alike. While we still have our differences,
Yeah.
basically we're the same people.
Mm-hmm.
We're like family
Mm-hmm.
oriented. We're about what's right. We come against what's wrong. See that's our mindset. That's how we do it. We listen. It needs to be right. And if you're wrong, it's going to be called out, so you can have a chance to correct it.
And I wanna,
That's where the problem lies,
yeah, and I want you
because
to.
we're dealing with people that don't like correction.
Gotcha.
See,
Gotcha.
so that's where the problem comes in at. And if you're operating in a controlling spirit, you definitely can't stand to be corrected. You're supposed to bow down to me and not correct me. That's what I find in people like that. And we're living that right now in the leadership of this country.
Yeah, that's a whole other conundrum. I was gonna say that I also have 6 siblings. I have four what people would call half brothers, but I don't call them half brothers. And I have one adopted brother, and I have one half sister. But we don't see ourselves. Most of my siblings and I don't see ourselves as half of anything. Um, and I think that's good. The issue that I know I've run into with siblings is um, almost like someone prejudging your response to them
Hmm.
because they think they know what you stand for. Because, like, I wasn't raised in a household with all of my siblings. I was raised with my older sister and my older brother. And then my other siblings, we share the same father. So we were not raised in the same household, although we did get a chance to connect with each other throughout our growing up. It was not like an everyday thing. Sometimes we've spent summers time together with each other at my grandmother's house. That was kind of like the satellite hub. So I have childhood memories with my siblings that I did not live in the house with. Um, but what I'm finding now as an adult is sometimes your siblings don't want to connect with you in a more intimate way because they've already decided that you may not accept their lifestyle or you may not accept their personality. And so that's been, I think
Hmm.
for me, the main issue is you not giving people an opportunity to know you in your adulthood and to accept you in your adulthood and immediately putting up unlocks to getting to know you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm not getting an opportunity to make a judgment either way because you've already decided this person is not going to accept me. There again, there's nothing you can do about that. If you have siblings that have decided to just cut you off or shut you out
Mm-hmm.
because they've already preempted what they think your response to them is going to be. But what you can do is if there's no hostility or animosity or any of that on your end, you can always keep the door open to say, "Hey, I'm here. I'm available if you want to talk." But at the same time, my boundaries also need to be respected because it's not going to be 25 years of silence, 10 years of silence, 15 years of silence, and then you pop up into my life expecting, that we're just going to act like there's not been space and silence there. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So, if you are that person who is sort of estranged from your siblings, you also have to understand they're going to have to adjust to you now wanting to be a part of their life.
Mm-hmm.
So, expect there to be some adjustment on their side that, hey, you haven't been around, you haven't been calling, you haven't been communicating, you haven't been visiting. Um, you don't know what's happening in my life either.
Mm-hmm.
So don't think that just because you've closed the door on your side, that when you're ready to open the door, people are going to be ready to receive you.
Right.
They're gonna need time to adjust to that as well. So that would be like the only caveat I would say when it comes to estrangement. But yeah, I do
Mm-hmm.
want to mention that the dynamics that parents put their children into can also shape how they handle their sibling relationships. Like I said, having different fathers or having different mothers, not being raised in the same household, right? We see some of these dynamics playing out even with celebrities who may be having several children by different women, not
Mm-hmm.
realizing the impact that those decisions are going to have on those siblings. Because you're just thinking from, oh, I'm just creating children side, but you're not thinking on the other side of that from the children who will have different mothers, different personalities flowing through them, but they're all still related through you as the father or through you as the mother. So I want people to kind of just be mindful of that, that sometimes you are creating the environment for tensions between children that might not otherwise be there if they were attached to the same household, you know.
Right.
So, what are your thoughts about that?
I totally agree. And when you said that, one name came to my mind. The initials are NC
Hmm. Yeah, one came to my
because we
mind, Muskrat, because he's another one. Um, but yeah, and again, go ahead. What you were saying, I don't want to cut you off.
because we know that that's what he's done.
Yeah.
He has plenty of children with different baby mamas. And yes, that does have an impact uh, because when the children are split up, they're learning different values instead of them all being raised with the same values, raised, with the same, uh, what I'll say, on the same rules or whatever,
Hmm.
the same love level,
Yeah.
all that changes. It all becomes different, so you can take one that's raised, complete love, another one that there may be violence involved
Hmm.
or neglect, some type of neglect,
Hmm.
and all that changes. With the children, this group of children, they've been neglected. They're not going to respond or feel like the ones that's been raised in total love.
Hmm.
See, so that's a separation there. You know, that's a separation that they may not even notice there.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's not a good thing. Now I'm with this though. I am with this. If that's going to be the case, well, no, that wouldn't work either. But but if the father is the one spreading the children, the father need to be in each one of those children's lives and try and do it equally. That way, they are getting the same from the father, while the different moms may be different. But I also think in a situation like that, that if the moms got together and made sure those children spent time together
Hmm.
and they have a discussion and they all come to some type of conclusion where, you know what, let's come to a conclusion about rules, regulations, limitations, and let's all try and raise them in that manner.
Hmm.
That would cut out a lot of problems in situations like that.
And you
And
know what? And that takes a great level of maturity
yes.
to get out of your head about your relationship with the father of all
Mm-hmm.
those children, and to say, as women, we are going to connect with each other, we're going to get along with each other so that our children will know their other siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, looking back, I can definitely tell you that was not my case. um it was just not. My mother was not interested in getting to know um my brother's mother. I have a relationship with her in my older years. I
Mm-hmm.
developed my own relationship with her, but my mother was never interested in, like, this is your father's wife, get to know her, that kind of. She was never interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other side of that, like you said, that father being able to dedicate equal time to the children. My mother, early in our relationship, because of some of his own issues with addiction, I didn't have that initial get to know your dad time, because my mom was like, listen, this is what's happening with him. I don't want you to see him this way. Thankfully, my mother gave me reasons, right? She didn't just say, no, you can't see, like some people do. She basically said, your dad is not in a good position right now. He's not healthy, and I don't want you to see
Mm-hmm.
him that way. So that's one thing I can give my mom credit for, is she was very big on saying, um, I don't want you to see your dad in a way that would make you see him as less. I think that's
Right.
very I think that's very important. Because I've seen some women, like, they don't care about that. They want their children in some instances to see their other parent in a very degraded light, and they want
Mm-hmm.
that to be the memory of that other parent, not realizing that later that child is going to recognize that you weren't protecting them. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
come to that realization at some point that, oh, my mother wanted me to see him at his lowest point because she wanted me to think of him in that way.
Right.
But my mom explained that to me. So then, as my dad began to get healthier and began to take care of himself and that kind of thing, then I was able to, like, start seeing him, start talking to him. But it was later, it was much later in my, like, pre going into preteen years. So
Mm-hmm.
that being said, when there is an opportunity to manage your relationship with the person you had a child with, you all may never get married. My parents never got married, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you can have a communication with them to say, if you have other children, I have other children, we have spouses or whatever, We still need to be able to come together so that we can do what is best for our child.
Right.
Everybody involved, if they're mature, the goal is really let's do what's best for the children. Let's give them the healthiest environment we can give them and place them in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's help them to experience their siblings so that 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line, you don't have these awkward relationships with siblings because the parents were just, you know, in their own head about their relationship with each other, that they had no time to really actually discuss and think about the dynamics of the children that they were bringing into all of this.
Right.
But again, that takes a lot of maturity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with the person in C, one of his children's mothers is on a real estate show, and she was talking a little bit about some of that dynamic and how at points and times it is difficult because she realizes she has to share him with several other
Mm-hmm.
women. She has to share time. Her child has to share time. And so when people start looking at the relationship dynamics they're preparing themselves to get into, that's one thing you can ask yourself. If this does not turn out well, if this does not turn out the way that I want the relationship to turn out, am I going to be okay with possibly bringing a child into this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, they already have children, or you already have children, or neither one of you have children right now, but a child could result from your relationship. Are you prepared for the fallout of that?
Right.
If you never get married and you have a child with this person, are you prepared for the fallout of that? Thinking about how this person acts and responds now, thinking about that person's responsibility now, thinking about that person's personality now. Are you willing to be tied to this person, not just for 18 years? Because I know people say just 18 years. No, for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's really for the rest of your life because your parenting, contrary to popular belief, your parenting doesn't end at 18. That's your initial segment of the child's life. But truly, your parenting doesn't end at 18. So the question should be in your mind, if I engage this person in a relationship, the kind of relationship that can result in a child, am I prepared for the fallout of that? And especially if that person already has children. If I bring another child into this dynamic, does this person appear to be someone that is going to want to continue a relationship with their child outside of what we have? There's this dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to another conversation about this. Someone said there's a dynamic where once the man is no longer connected to the mother in an intimate way, they start disconnecting from the child because they feel like, well, I'm not connected to the mother, so why should I be connected to the child that I brought here with the mother?
Let me speak on that.
And I said, that's a mess. Please
Let,
go ahead.
let me let me speak on that because even though me and my children's mom divorced, I was still connected to them. I didn't draw back. And I'm going to also say this: when I got married again to someone that already had a daughter, when me and her got divorced, she was 2 years old. The daughter was 2 years old. When we got divorced after she was 4 years old, guess what? I was still just as much a part of her life. Her mother and I weren't connected intimately, but this is me. I viewed my relationship with that young girl as a totally different relationship from her mother. I know the relationship me and that girl had, that child had, and I wasn't going to take that away from me or her.
Mhm.
She knew who her biological father was, but she saw me as her dad. Why would I take that away from her? And now she's at the age of 39, and I'm still her dad. So I, I I hear what you're saying,
Mhm.
and I know that that is true, but that's not always the case.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
and I was saying when I heard that, I was like, that is really cruel
hmm
in some ways. Like if you birthed a child with someone and you're no longer attached to the mother, now you're also detaching from the child that you birthed. You're not
right.
interested in cultivating a relationship with your own child because you
hmm
can't be
But
intimate with the mother. Like I know it happens, okay? But I'm just saying that's a you problem. That's a
yeah.
maturity problem.
hmm
That's a I don't want to take responsibility for the soul that came into this world that didn't ask to come into this world
hmm
problem. So yeah, I think that I think that this is a good topic to,
hmm
especially if you are a person who has you've married, you've remarried, you know, you have children by different persons. Really start investigating how are those relationships between your children. If you haven't thought about it, if you haven't contemplated it, if your children are still young,
hmm
this is a great time to make the shift and make the decision that my children are going to know their other siblings
hmm
and have some adult conversations around that.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, I do feel like I missed out on some of that sibling bonding, sibling relationships because I was in a different household. And like I said, there were times that were made for us to connect with each other, but we were not seeing each other every day. We would kind of see each other during the summers, and we would all gather at my grandmother's home. And so that was, like I said, kind of um, like our substation, if you will,
hmm
where everybody gathered, including me and my siblings. So I have those childhood memories. I have a few pictures from that time when we would go to my grandmother's house, but other than that, I don't have anything else. And so it becomes, as an adult, it becomes a somewhat of a strain to try to build sibling relationships that don't have a fuller foundation, if I could say it that way. It can be done, but you definitely have some barriers and some hurdles to cross versus someone who was raised in a household with their siblings or someone who was afforded opportunity to meet and get to know their siblings that are not in the household with them. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I'm going to say two things. Okay. A father is a father. It doesn't matter the situation. He's going to always be there for his child or any other child.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to also say this: that demographic that separates themselves because they're no longer intimately related to the mother. I'm not going to say that there are not any people of color that does that, but I'm going to say that that has to be predominantly the envelopian type, because another study is done, and according to that study, black fathers are the most active
Mm-hmm.
in their children's lives.
Yes.
Period.
Period. Exactly.
Period.
You're right.
It doesn't matter. So, I know many black fathers that's no longer intimate with the child's mother,
Mm-hmm.
and they're in their life. My grandson, his father just passed away a few weeks ago. He was still a huge part of my grandson's life, And him and my daughter, they had a friendship relationship. And it hurt her just as much as it did her son because they still had a friendship relationship. She understood the impact that he made in their son's life.
Mm-hmm.
And she know that's gone now. So, you know, we we we're built different. We're built different as a people. And for most things, we do most things differently. So I just wanted to say that, and I'm done.
Thank you for, yeah, and I do want to put that back into the reminder for people that demographically, according to the CDC, black fathers are the most involved with their children, whether they are inside of the home or outside of the home. So that means taking them to activities, um, doing basic chores with them, um, washing them, taking care of them, reading with them. They did a whole study on like different activities, and Black fathers came out on top. So if you're looking for that study, it's through the CDC, and let's hope it's still up. Because based on our government, they're pulling down
Yeah.
all kinds of research and hiding it from their website. But every most people know and have heard of that particular study. Pastor Ben, I want to thank you for chopping it up with us today. This has been another episode of Daring Dialogues, and I've been your host today, Shantae Charles. Remember, light is the most daring opposition to evil. So go out today and be what?
Light.
Light. Take care, everyone. Be well, and most importantly,